Nickie Aiken.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I would like to first congratulate my honourable friend, the member for Stroud, for bringing forward such an excellent piece of legislation, and to my honourable friend, the member for South Ribble, for supporting it in the final stages as the bill progresses through the Commons. And I think it's an absolutely brilliant example of how MPs can work together to bring forward such brilliant legislation. And the member for Stroud has been an extremely doughty campaigner in this field of policy. The scene of this bill has been set for over the past decade, and I think it is important that we recognise the work the government has been doing to improve the child maintenance system. From the introduction of the 24/7 digital service to supporting those who are trying to decide what type of arrangements is most suitable for their situation, to increasing the number of referrals to enforcement agents, this bill adds to that work. The CMS is of course a vital service and makes a huge difference to families who have separated. That being said, improvements to the system are welcome, and this bill is an example of that. We saw another excellent example recently in my honourable friend for Hastings and Rye's child support collection domestic abuse bill, which I was glad to support just a couple of Fridays ago. And I'm sure I'm not alone in this chamber today when I say that I regularly read about parents using the use of the CMS in my post bag. I am always quite taken aback when I do get email or correspondence from a constituent who is having problems trying to get a former partner to pay for their child maintenance. They have an agreement, they've been through the courts, they've separated legally, they have a maintenance support in place, but the partner not living with the child now is not paying. And it's always struck me that no matter what arguments, problems you may have in the former relationship as adults, why the parent who is meant to be paying for the child fails to do so and refuses to do so, because it's the child that is the person who's losing out, and probably is not having the relationship with the partner not living in the household, and then that adds to the further pain of a broken relationship between parent and child. And I really do hope that this bill will go some way to maybe doing something about improving the situation between a child and a parent who doesn't live with them, no matter what the relationship is with their former partner. And Madam Deputy Speaker, there are currently 3 million children across the country living in separated families. 60% of those families have child maintenance arrangements. This adds up to £2.4 billion a year in child maintenance payments. And as I said, for the most part, the transactions are regular and reliable. However, in some cases, and it's always the acute cases that we, as members of Parliament, become aware of, and as we've heard today from other members, that regular payments of child support maintenance are not forthcoming. And it is for this reason that I'm pleased to see that this bill improves enforcement measures against parents who have failed to meet their obligations. I think it is quite a sad state of affairs that we have got to legislate to enforce parents to pay for maintenance for their children. But for those minority of cases, then needs must, and that's why I welcome the member for Stroud and the member for South Ribble for bringing this bill through. Sadly, the pandemic added to enforcement delays of failed payments. We know that. The pandemic has had so many knock-on effects for us as individuals and as a society. But most of this time was down to the existing technical or capacity issues, be that complications with the liability orders or just streamlining who can actually facilitate enforcement. Therefore, this bill can come at no better time. And indeed, improving enforcement measures and strengthening the CMS is going to have a huge impact on ensuring payments are collected in a timely manner. This is why Clause 2 of the bill is so important. It grants the Secretary of State greater powers to intervene without the need to apply to the Magistrates or Sheriff's Court, and to ensure that disputes over CMS are resolved in a timely manner. And it is about the timely manner. We can't expect a child and the parent that they are living with, they have to continue to wait for the money to come through. We know, and particularly the cost of living crisis, we know that this money can make a huge difference to a child's well-being. Replacing the existing requirement under Section 33 of the Child Support Act 1991 for the Secretary of State to apply to the courts for a liability order, and it is my understanding this will go a long way to reducing the backlog of cases. That is very welcome. Likewise, there are also 2 clauses which speaks to a parent's right of appeal and steps which will work to ensure a lack of payment is not becoming an increased driver to child poverty. And indeed, much of this bill deals with the way in which child support payments are recovered in cases in which arrears have accumulated. And so, Madam Deputy Speaker, to this end, I have no doubt that this bill will be welcomed by hundreds of thousands of families up and down the country who are having to go through the CMS. Therefore, I think it's essential that we press forward with this sensible, thoughtful and practical reform with this bill provides, and I will look forward to seeing it on the statutory books shortly.